You ever have one of those mornings where everything just feels off from the moment you step outside, like there's a chill in the air that crawls all the way into your bones? Yeah, that was me, Mrs. Langford, that Tuesday morning at Riverdale Elementary. I've been teaching second grade for over 2 decades, and let me tell you, kids can throw just about anything at you, stories about dogs eating homework, wild tales of haunted attics, but that day what knocked the wind out of me wasn't anything anyone said. It was a look in a little girl's eyes. I was setting out notebooks, straightening chairs, humming to myself, just watching those leaves spin around outside my window, and the classroom door creaked open earlier than usual. Not Tommy Wilson, my regular early bird, but this tiny, serious-looking kid I'd never seen before. She walked in, balancing herself on these rough crutches, honest to God, broomsticks wrapped in rags, like something out of the Depression era. No jacket, blue dress hanging off her, shoes wet like she'd waded through a swamp just to make it here. I crouched down, tried to keep my voice light, said, "Good morning. You must be new. I'm Mrs. Langford." She looked at me, eyes old beyond her years. "I'm Grace," she said, steady as anything. "Grace Campbell. Today's my first day." I could see her knuckles go white, gripping those broomsticks, but she held herself straight, chin up, like she'd already learned the world didn't give you much unless you demanded it. I offered her a choice of desks. She picked the one by the window, not up front where everyone could stare. Smart girl. The room filled, the noise level went up, and I watched how Grace moved through it, all answering when spoken to, polite smiles, but she never offered more than what was required. Her handwriting? Immaculate. At snack time, she unwrapped a chunk of bread from a scrap of newspaper, ate half, saved the rest. Resourceful. When the art project rolled around her family, I said kids were sketching houses, dogs, big groups holding hands. Grace's paper? A tiny house, 2 figures inside, and way off to the side, a third, separated by a black strip I guessed was a road. "You sat beside her." "That's a very thoughtful drawing, Grace." She didn't look up. Her finger traced the lonely figure. Then, out of nowhere, she whispered, "Mrs. Langford? Does every daddy do this?" The air went heavy, just like that, as if she'd handed me a box I wasn't sure how to open. Before I could ask what she meant, she shut downies to her drawing. Never mind. I let it go, but I felt it sit in my chest the rest of the day. Later, packing up, I saw her nodding off at her desk. "Grace, is someone picking you up today?" She shook her head. "I take the bus." 2 buses. Just the way she said it, resigned, not sat at me hard. I watched her limp out the door, and I'll be honest, I barely slept that night. Her question echoing, "Does every daddy do this?" The next morning, I got to school early, but there she was already waiting, reading a battered library book. "Grandma, Ellie has to rest," she told me. I like being early. It's quiet. Throughout the day, I watched her. Her lunch, a half sandwich, an apple, again wrapped in newspaper. During reading, she nodded off twice, jerked awake, embarrassed. But when it came to math, she was a whiz, solved problems before I'd even finished writing them out. At recess, she sat watching the other kids until Olivia, this bubbly little thing with pigtails, asked her to play Card Snow Running Required. It was like watching a stray dog decide it was safe to come close. That afternoon, I went to the office, asked the secretary, Marion, what we had on Grace. Not much. 3 schools in 2 years, addressed to an apartment that sounded shady. Emergency contact was her grandmother, Eleanor. No parents on file, just a note about a leg injury. That night, I dialed the number disconnected. The next day, same dress, same lunch, but someone had tried to wash it. I handed out blue notebooks for journaling, told the kids they were for whatever they wanted, writing, drawing, secrets, anything. Grace held hers like it was treasure. All week, she arrived early. I started leaving breakfast snacks on her desk. She always hesitated, but never refused. That notebook of hers? She filled it with sketches. The same house, an old woman's face, a winding road. By Thursday, I brought my concerns to Principal Parker. "She's exhausted, Richard. 2 buses alone at her age. Clothes never change." And that question, he listened, sympathetic but tied by policy. "Monitor, but unless you have more." I left frustrated, knowing the system only moves when a kid falls apart. That afternoon, Grace lingered after class to help tidy art supplies. I tried gently. "Do you travel far to get home?" She lined up colored pencils. "First bus, transfer, then just a little walk." "That's a lot for a kid," I said. She shrugged. "Grandma Ellie can't come. Her legs hurt worse than mine. Daddy's coming back soon. He travels for important jobs." Practiced words like something she'd memorized. I called her last school same story. "Sweet girl, tired, grandmother frail, never met the father." I drove to the listed address wrong place. Nobody by that name. "You're the second person looking," the tenant told me. Tall, jittery guy was here last week. The next morning, Grace didn't show. For the first time, her desk was empty. Rain poured. Her blue notebook, forgotten in her cubby, caught my eye. I'd never snoop in a student's journal, but something in my gut screamed. I opened it. On the page, a crayon drawing of a little girl at a bus stop in a storm, water swirling around her feet. Above, waiting for bus 17 again today. Bus 17? That's the one that runs the outskirts nowhere near her supposed address. Olivia, still in her yellow raincoat, stopped in at lunch. "Is Grace sick?" I save her half my cookie. She likes cookies, but never has any. I asked Olivia to put it in Grace's desk for when she came back. As the day crawled by, my worry grew. When the bell rang, I made a choice. I skipped the staff meeting, drove straight to my old friend Melissa Jenkins, who worked for social services. "Address is fake, phone's dead, no one met the dad, and Grace takes bus 17, I said. Melissa did some digging. No current address. The grandmother's benefits were being direct deposited, and Grace's father, Robert, bounced between jobs. A pattern of drifting, nothing sinister on paper, but enough to paint a picture. The storm worsened, but I couldn't just sit. Melissa came with me. We drove the bus 17 route, peering through the rain, until finally, at a lonely crossroads, we spotted a tiny figure, soaked through, huddled in a bus shelter. It was Grace. She'd been waiting for hours. "The morning bus never came," she said. "I'm good at waiting," she told me. Voice calm as rain pounded the shelter roof. My heart just about broke. I offered her a ride, but she panicked. "Grandma says I can't tell anyone where we live, or they'll take me away." The bus arrived just then. I promised we'd follow just to see her home safe. The bus wound through back roads, finally stopping at a dirt lane called Whitewater. Grace got off, disappeared into the woods. We waited, then followed on foot through mud and rain to a battered cabin in a clearing. Before we could decide to knock, Grace spotted us, called out, "Grandma Ellie wants to know if you want to come in out of the rain." That's how we met Eleanor, frail but proud, sharp-eyed, every inch the matriarch holding her world together with threadbare dignity. Inside, the cabin was sparse, patched up, but clean. With stove for heat, no electricity. Grace moved around the kitchen like she'd been running the place for years. They offered us teach 'em a mile, last of the sugar, everything measured with care. Grace told us she'd been born with her legs, not quite right, operations cost too much. The crutches? Her father made them before he left for his big job. It was a home built on hope and desperation. Suddenly, a knock missed her. Thompson from school maintenance sent to find me when I'd missed check-in. He said Principal Parker was looking for updates, and, oh, by the way, someone claiming to be Grace's father had turned up at school. Tall, nervous, but with all the right paperwork. Said he was back for good, finally got a real job and a place in Oakage. The next day, Grace returned to class, tension humming in her small body. Word had spread. That morning, Robert Campbell's story checked out: job, insurance, apartment in Oakage. He'd been sober 5 months, said he was ready to be a real father. But watching Grace, her skepticism, the way her shoulders tensed every time the door opened, I couldn't help wondering if this time really was different. We did an art project, Draw Your Family, again. Grace's picture split into 3 parts. Her and Grandma in a cabin, a road in the middle, her dad alone beside a tall building labeled Oakage. The details: patched roof, broken steps showed she saw everything. Mrs. Bennett, the PTA president, saw the drawing, raised the alarm. "This child can't live like this," she said. already dialing the superintendent. What happened next was a swirl of arguments. Social workers, principal, superintendent, all crowding the tiny cabin, everyone fighting over what was best for Grace. Right in the middle of it, Grace slammed her crutches down and spoke up. "Stop talking about us like we're not here. Grandma Ellie does everything she can. Daddy always promises." That broke the tension. Robert knelt, showed her keys to a new apartment, medical insurance, said, "I promise it'll be different." Grace looked him in the eye and replied, "Daddy always promises." We all gathered at the cabin to talk it out. Grace's grandmother asked her to read a story from her blue notebook, The Bird Who Built a New Nest After a Storm. Found her home, not in a place, but with those who stayed. Right then, part of the ceiling gave out, rain pouring in, chaos everywhere. We had no choice but to leave. Mrs. Benetwo had started all this offered her guest cottage. Her perspective changed by seeing firsthand how hard Grace's family had worked to hold it together. That night, Robert confessed everything: his wife's death, addiction, recovery, shame. Grace heard it all. "I don't need special things, Daddy," she said. "Just try. That's all I want." Morning brought sunlight, real beds, and the first hope in a long time. Grace asked, "Is he really different now? Or is this just another good day before the bad ones come back?" Her grandmother, always wise, said, "We'll watch and wait." Grace wanted three things: to stay in my class, for her dad to be better for real, for her grandma to have comfort, and for real crutches, not broomsticks. Robert, trying hard, brought her new crutches, set up appointments. Grace's world opened: a friendship bracelet from Olivia, warm meals, a winter showcase to prepare for. The showcase came, and Grace, in a new blue dress, took the stage, her blue notebook in hand, her story ready. She told the tale of the crooked-winged bird who learned to wait, who built her own shelters, found friends, and finally welcomed her father back. "Does every father bird fly away?" she asked, her eyes meeting her father's across the crowd. "Sometimes trying every day is the most important promise of all," she said. The applause was thunderous. That night by the fireplace, Grace said she wanted them to build a new nest together, not just in a new apartment, but really together as a family. She wanted everyone to try, not promise. Robert gave her the key to their new home, her home, for as long as she wanted. You know what I mean? Sometimes the answer to a question isn't what you expect. Does every dad do this? No, not every dad leaves. Some dads come back. Some dads try one day at a time. And sometimes, when a community comes together, when people stay even when it's hard, that's when kids like Grace finally get to write a new ending to their story. So what do you think? Is justice just about rules, or about showing up when it matters? Drop your thoughts below. Would you have done what Mrs. Langford did? Should Grace have gone with her dad, or stayed with her grandmother? How do you define family when home is more than just a roof? Let's talk.